Hey guys, I hope that you're having a fantastic day. It's absolutely gorgeous outside, and I really hope that you've had a chance to get out and enjoy the weather today, enjoy the sunshine. It's been a perfect day outside. I know I've enjoyed it, and I hope you have too. But what I'm really excited about is to pick back up with the Land of Stories, The Wishing Spell. It's been a little while. We had a long weekend, and I think we're ready to jump back in. Before we start with chapter 10, let's talk about chapter 9 for a second and refresh our memories. In chapter 9, Alex and Connor made it to the Charming Kingdom, where Cinderella's castle is. They went into the castle, got a tour of the castle, found the slipper that they needed, but they decided not to take it because they thought that that wouldn't be the right thing to do after Cinderella was so nice to them. However, at the end of chapter 9, they have left the castle and they realize that the slipper is in their bag. And they don't know how he got there. They don't know who put it there, but it's there. So let's dive into chapter 10. It's called the Red Riding Hood Kingdom. And let's see what's going to happen. We're only going to be able to read about half of this chapter today because it's a really long one. But then tomorrow we'll pick up with the second part of the chapter. All right, let's get started. The subtle shakes of the pear cart finally rocked Alex and Connor to sleep. If they hadn't been so exhausted from the previous restless night and eventful day, the shock of discovering the glass slipper in their possession would have kept them up all night. The next morning, they awoke just as the cart was arriving at the northern village it was destined for. The first thing Alex did when she awoke was to make sure the slipper was still in her tight grip, as it had been when she'd fallen asleep. She couldn't let go of it. She was afraid that if it wasn't in her hands at all times, it might disappear just as easily as it appeared. The mystery of how it had gotten into her bag was still the most prominent thing on their minds. "Do you think it was magic?" Connor asked Alex. "Maybe the slipper knew we needed it and transported itself into your bag." "I've read enough fantasy books to know that that's a possibility," Alex said. "And after everything we've been through, I wouldn't be surprised. But the point is, we have it now. It's one less item we have to collect. So let's focus our energy into getting a hold of Red Riding Hood's basket." She wrapped a blanket around the slipper for safekeeping and stored it in her bag. They didn't want any unwanted attention from carrying it around. "I hope Cinderella or Lambton don't send soldiers after us once they realize it's gone," Connor said. Alex hadn't thought about that. What if, as they were speaking, Lambton was putting together a band of soldiers to find them and take them into captivity? "Then we'll tell him the truth and worry about it when it happens," Alex said. "But let's keep moving in the meantime." There didn't appear to be any roads or paths on the map that went to the Red Riding Hood Kingdom, so the twins were forced to travel straight through a forest of elm trees to get there. Alex read from the journal as they walked. As everyone knows, the Red Riding Hood Kingdom is surrounded by a tall wall to keep out the wolves. There are garden entrances into the kingdom along the perimeter of the wall. So we'll find the wall, find an entrance, and be inside the kingdom in no time," Alex said. "What if they don't let us inside?" Connor asked. "I can't imagine why they wouldn't let us in," Alex said. "But if they don't this time, let me do the talking." An hour or so of walking later, the twins could see the wall surrounding the kingdom in the distance. It was massive. It was 30 feet tall and made from enormous gray bricks. The same warning sign was posted on the wall every few feet or so. "Wolves beware. By CRAWL, decree and approved by the Happily Ever After Assembly, wolves of any kind, breed, or color are strictly prohibited from entering the Red Riding Hood Kingdom. All trespassers will be killed and turned into rugs, coats, or decoration. You have been warned. Now be gone." "Wow," Connor said. "The wolves are definitely not getting in there." They walked beside the wall for another couple of hours, but never found an entrance. Alex read the journal and found a part that she had missed. There's a northern entrance, a south entrance, and east entrance, and a west entrance. Each has its own path that goes to the center of the kingdom, where the town is. There's only one town in the Red Riding Hood Kingdom. The rest is farmland. Oh no, Alex said. I misread the journal. Apparently there are only 4 entrances into the kingdom. And how close are we to getting to one of them? Connor asked. Alex looked closely at the map and her eyes widened a bit. Connor could tell it wasn't going to be good news. It looks like we're right in between the west entrance and the south entrance, which means more walking, Connor said with a furrowed forehead and his hands on his hips. Yes, Alex said, bearing the bad news. About a day or two's worth. Connor walked around in a circle, frustrated beyond belief. This is annoying, Connor yelled. Why can't anything be easy? Connor, everything's okay. It's just going to take a little longer to... No, Alex, it's not okay, Connor yelled. We've been in this world for almost a week. I want to go home. I miss Mom. I miss my friends. I'm even starting to miss Mrs. Peters. There, I admitted it. Connor was so upset that he kicked a tree, but he ended up just hurting his foot. Ouch, he yelled. I miss home too, but there's nothing I can do about it, Alex said. We'll get home when we get home, and that's that. But in the meantime, it doesn't do us any good to be angry. We just have to get through it. Connor crossed his arms and his shoulders slumped. He was aggravated, almost to tears. Alex assumed they were closer to the southern entrance and led the way toward it. Connor verbalized his frustrations the entire way. I miss pavement and sidewalks, Connor ranted. I miss our crappy rental house. I miss our neighborhood. I miss that dog down the street that barks constantly through the night. I miss homework. I miss getting detention for not doing homework. Let it out, Connor, Alex said. You'll feel better. I hate this place, Connor continued. I hate the dirt paths. I hate the man-eating witches. I hate the mutant-sized wolves. I hate sleeping outside. I hate bridges, trolls. I hate all the trees. Wait. That's it. The trees. Connor searched their surroundings and ran ahead to a big tree next to the kingdom's wall. What are you doing? Alex asked. I'm getting inside the kingdom. I'm going to climb this tree and hop over the wall, Connor yelled back at her. He started climbing it at a very quick and determined pace. It's a 30-foot drop on the other side, at least, Alex shouted at him. Come on, Alex, Connor said and gestured for her to follow him. I'm not climbing that tree, she said. You'll climb up Rapunzel's tower, but a tree is out of the question, he said mockingly. And I shouldn't have done that, I agree, she said, but was ignored. Connor was almost at the top of the tree. Alex ran over to the tree and climbed a little ways after him. Connor, please come down from there. I'd rather travel slowly and safely than quickly and dangerously, she said. Connor stood up on the tallest branch of the tree. The top of the wall was just a few feet away. I'm going to jump to the wall and see if I can spot a way down, Connor said. Connor, don't be stupid. Climb down right now. You're going to hurt yourself, Alex demanded. Wish me luck, Connor said, and prepped himself for the jump. 1, 2, 3. Connor jumped off the tree branch and soared toward the wall. No, Alex yelled. He had jumped a little too hard. He missed the wall by a few inches and flew over it, head first. Alex! Connor bellowed as he fell. She heard a large thump from the other side, but she couldn't see anything. Connor! Alex screamed. Connor, are you all right? Connor, are you alive? She was hysterical. Alex climbed up the tree faster than any animal she had ever seen in a documentary. Connor, answer me, she pleaded. Can you hear me? Are you hurt? Alex heard laughter just as she reached the top of the tree. On the other side of the wall, she saw Connor laying safely on a big stack of hay. Hi, Alex, Connor said with a big smile on his face. Connor, you scared me to death, Alex shouted. I know, it was so entertaining, Connor said. Do you really think I would have jumped if I didn't see something to land on? I'm glad you're alive, so I can kill you myself, Alex said. Jump over, it's a soft landing, I promise, he said. Fine, Alex said. She carefully tossed him her bag before jumping over the fence. Connor was right. The landing was soft. They were covered in hay, and they brushed it off each other. Take a look at this place, Alex said as she and Connor journeyed into the Red Riding Hood kingdom. They felt as if they had entered another dimension all over again. There were rolling hills of farmland for as far as they could see. Cows and sheep were grazing across the fields. Shepherds with curved staffs and shepherdess in large bonnets attended to the animals with their dogs. Everything is so perfect here, Alex said. I feel like I'm in a nursery rhyme. They must be bored out of their minds, Connor said. I wonder whose land this is, Alex said. A few moments later, Alex got her answer. They passed a big wooden sign stuck in the ground that read, Bo Peep Family Farms. The scenery was so pleasant that the time went by fairly fast. After they'd traveled a while longer, the peaked and pointed roofs of the town came into view. They couldn't see much while looking at it from the outskirts, but once they were in the center of it, the town came to life. How adorable, Alex squealed at first sight of the town. It was so dainty and picturesque that they felt like they were in a theme park. It was filled with tiny cottage homes and shops made of bricks or stone walls and hay roofs. A bell in the steeple of an old schoolhouse rang. Many staff-carrying men and bonnet-wearing women, like the ones they had seen in the fields, walking about the town, pulling goats and sheep along with them. Among the many stores and shops were the Henny Penny Bank, Jack Horner's Pie Shop, and the Pat a Cake Bakery. The Shoe Inn, just adjacent to the main town, was a boot of gigantic proportions, turned into a working hotel. In the very center of the town was a grassy park that hosted several memorials and monuments. Alex was doing mental backflips in the side of each of them. A small brick wall that stood by itself had a golden plaque on it that said, Sir Humpty Dumpty's Wall, you were a good egg and shall be missed by more than just the king's horses and men. Rest in pieces. Just past Humpty Dumpty's wall was a small hill with a well on top of it. A sign pointing to the hill said, Jack and Jill Hill. In the middle of the park was a circular fountain. A statue of a young shepherd boy stood in the center of it, and water poured from the mouths of the sheep that were under him. The carved dedication of the fountain read, In memory of the boy who cried wolf, you were a liar, but you were loved. The twins were so enthralled by everything that they were getting strange looks from the villagers and townspeople. This place reminds me of that miniature golf course in town, Connor said. Not the one by us, but the really legit one across town where all the rich kids live. At the edge of the town, with the best view of the park, was Red Riding Hood's castle. The castle had 4 tall towers that could be seen from anywhere in town. It appropriately had red walls with dark red roofs. A moat circled the castle and had its own watermill. The castle looked massive from far away. However, as the twins moved closer to it, they realized it wasn't very big at all. It was just built to look big. The moat around it was so small that one of the twins could have easily stepped over it. I bet you Red Riding Hood's basket is in there somewhere, Connor said. Alex retrieved the journal from out of her bag and began reading the specifics of collecting the basket to Connor. Unlike every other place or castle, Red Riding Hood's isn't very difficult to break into. The castle was built so quickly after the CRAWL revolution that the builders forgot to add some basic necessities. The kitchen windows located in the back of the castle have no locks on them. The Red Riding Hood Kingdom is the safest and smallest of all the kingdoms. Therefore, they're short-handed on soldiers and guards. The halls of the castle are only patrolled until midnight, and the guards don't return until dawn. Sneak into the castle between midnight and dawn through the kitchen windows, stay away from the main halls, and you should be fine. Red Riding Hood has a special room in her chambers devoted to all the baskets she's acquired and been given over the years. Find this room and you'll find her very first basket, the one she took with her to grandmother's house all those years ago. You don't need to collect the whole basket, just a small chunk of the tree bark that surrounds the rim. Should be easy to identify, as there is already a chunk of tree bark missing from when I collected it. And I was just hoping we could ring the doorbell and ask for it, Connor said. Alex looked up at all the towers and windows. She wondered which window belonged to the room they would find the basket in. And as she looked up at the castle, something else entirely caught her eye. Look over there, Alex said and pointed to the sky. Connor turned to look in the direction she was pointing. Sticking straight up into the air, 100 feet or so, was an enormous beanstalk. That must be Jack's beanstalk, Alex said. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? No, but I'm sure you want to go see the beanstalk, Connor said, and before he could finish, Alex had taken off toward it. The twins ran through the town and had to take a trail leading out of town to get to the beanstalk. They passed a few cottage homes and more farmland as they traveled. It was much further than they had thought. Eventually, they saw the base of the beanstalk ahead. It was thick and curly and had huge leaves. It grew right next to an old decrepit shack that was once large enough to have one room inside of it. A little ways behind the beanstalk and the shack was a large, elegant manor with yellow bricks and enough chimneys and windows to hold a dozen rooms. Which one of those is Jack's house? Connor asked as they approached the beanstalk. Alex looked at it for a moment until she figured it out. That shack must be where Jack lived with his mother when they were poor. And then after he defeated the giant and became rich, they must have built a new home just behind it, she said happily. They're both his. Connor shrugged. He had no reason to doubt her guess. Look how tall it is, Alex said once they had reached the base of the beanstalk. It would take a lot of bravery to climb that. Just then, they heard a door slam, and a man came out of the manor. He was young and tall with short hair and broad shoulders. He was very good looking, but he wore a subdued expression. He carried an axe and a log. Look, Alex, Connor whispered. Do you think that's Jack? I don't know, she whispered back. Let's ask him. The man set the log on a chopping block in the front yard and began chopping the log into small pieces. Hi there, said Alex, being extra friendly. Hello, said the man, never looking up from it chopping. Are you Jack? Connor asked him. Yep, the man said. Do you need something? No, we're just traveling around, Alex said. We saw your beanstalk from all the way in town and wanted to get a closer look. Many people do, Jack said. I have to chop it down once a week because it grows so fast. His expression barely changed as he chopped the wood. Was he just accustomed to random people approaching his home and beanstalk? That he'd become numb to it? You have a lovely home, Alex said. Except for the eyesore in the front, Connor said and nodded toward the shack behind him. Connor, be polite, Alex said. I've turned it into a workshop, Jack told him. He finished chopping the wood, collected the pieces in his hands, went into the shack, and slammed the door behind him. Well, someone isn't much of a conversationalist, Connor said. I wonder what's wrong with him. He seems so different, Alex said. Have you met before? Connor asked. Sometimes he wondered if she had forgotten that they were from another world. No, I just mean from the way he had been described, Alex said. He was always so energetic and adventurous. I wonder what's troubling him. Maybe he doesn't like people coming to his house, said Connor. If I were him, I'd get really annoyed too. Connor had another sarcastic comment to add, but he was distracted by a high-pitched sound coming from inside the manor. Do you hear that? Connor asked Alex. It sounds like singing. They both turned to face the manor as a set of window shutters were pushed open. The twins wouldn't have believed it if they hadn't been so close, but standing behind the open window was a golden woman. She happily sang a soprano ballad as loudly as she could. A set of strings played along with her, but the twins couldn't see where the music was coming from. Oh, the day is here, and so am I, to wistfully dream of birds that fly. If I had legs, I'd see the world and travel away. But I'm only a harp, and this window is where I shall stay. She turned to face the twins as she sang the final note, and they noticed a set of strings connected to her back. The strings played magically along to her voice. She was a magic harp. "Hello, children. I didn't see you there," the harp said. Alex jumped up and down. "Are you the magical harp?" she asked. "The one that Jack saved from the giant." "The one and only," the harp said, and struck a dramatic pose. "And thank God he did, because giants have terrible taste in music. You wouldn't believe the numbers he used to force me to perform for him. All the lyrics were about eating sheep and stepping on villagers. Would you like me to sing for you?" "No thanks," Connor said. The harp took offense to this. "I remember that day like it was yesterday," the harp said. "There I was, minding my own business, being a slave for the giant, when suddenly this skinny peasant boy walks in and I was like, 'Hey there, why don't you rescue me? I could use some rescuing.' The next thing I know, we're zooming down a beanstalk being chased by the giant. Jack chopped down the beanstalk and the giant fell to his death, splat, right on the Bo Peep farms. It was quite a day." "How terrifying," Alex said. "It was the most excitement I had had in 100 years. Everything worked out just wonderfully. Though Jack and his mother became rich, I wasn't a slave anymore. And the Bo Peep family said the giant was the best fertilizer their farms had ever used." "That's so wrong," Connor said to himself. "What are you two doing here?" the harp asked them with a big smile. Alex and Connor looked at each other, both afraid to answer. "We're just visiting," Alex said. "We've never been to the Red Riding Hood Kingdom before." "We were just in town and saw a beanstalk and wanted to see it up close," Connor said. "Then welcome," the harp said. "Don't you just love it here? I know I do. I've been around the world and I've never felt more comfortable. It's so safe here. The people are friendly farmers, and the best part is no wolves are allowed. Are you two thinking of moving? Wouldn't that be nice? I think you should move here and visit me every day." The harp was very chatty, and the twins could tell she was desperate for attention. Spending every day cooped up in the house couldn't be easy. "We're actually on our way home," Connor said. "We just have to make a stop at Red Riding Hood's castle, and then we'll be on our way. We've never been there before." "You should have Jack take you," the harp said. "He's headed there this afternoon to meet with Queen Red Riding Hood." "He is?" Alex asked. "Oh, yes," the harp said. "He visits her at the end of every week and brings her a handmade basket every time." The harp looked side to side to make sure no one else was listening, but there was no one in sight. "Now, you didn't hear this from me," the harp said, excitedly, with gossip in her eyes. "Queen Red Riding Hood calls him to the castle every week and proposes to him. Poor thing has been in love with him since they were kids." "Really?" Alex said. "Does that mean they're getting married?" "Oh, heavens, no," the harp said. "Jack can't stand her. He turns her down every time." "Why would he do that? Doesn't he want to be king?" Connor asked. "His heart belongs to someone else," the harp said sadly, and the strings on her back played a sad chord. "Who does he love?" Alex said. "Let me guess," Connor said. "Little Miss Muffet." "Of course not," the harp said. "Miss Muffet married Georgie Porgy, but as everyone knows, he has had countless affairs, but that's another story." "Back to Jack," Alex said. "Oh, right. Well, I'm not sure who he's in love with, and I've never seen her," the harp said. "All I know is he's never been the same since she moved away." Alex and Connor looked at each other with the same questioning expression. Who could it be? Was that the reason he had seemed so gloomy? The door of the shack opened, and Jack emerged with a basket made from the pieces of wood he had just chopped. "Hey, Jack, I have a wonderful idea," the harp called. "Why don't you take these two with you to the castle? They've never been inside it before." Jack seemed hesitant. "Please, Mr. Jack," Alex pleaded. "We won't be any trouble." "Come on, Jack, make their day," the harp pleaded. And that is where I'm going to end for today, on a cliffhanger. You won't get to know until tomorrow whether Jack lets them go with him or not. So I hope you enjoyed that chapter. I hope you'll look in the description of this video for some fun activities that you can do at home, some questions you can answer about the first part of this chapter. And tomorrow we'll read the rest of chapter 10. We're going to find out, is Jack going to let them travel with him to the Red Riding Hood castle, or are they going to have to go alone? Are they going to get the basket or the piece of the basket? And how are they going to do it? All questions that will hopefully get answered tomorrow in the rest of this chapter. Anyway, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay positive, stay happy, and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye, guys.